Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's talk about European Theatre Cooperation. My name is Nina Katarina Karlsson and I am the Cultural Counselor at the Swedish Embassy in Berlin. With me today is Petra Brylander, who is Theatre Director at Uppsala City Theatre in Sweden. Welcome, Petra. And Frida Österberg, actor and opera singer at Uppsala Theatre and at the Badisches Staatstheater in Karlsruhe in Germany. And then Anna Bergmann, who is Artistic Director and Director of the play Die neuen Todsünden, The New Deadliest Sins, at the Badisches Staatstheater in Karlsruhe. We are in 3 different cities, or 4, because you're in Vienna right now, Anna, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
A warm welcome to all of you. Right now, the 3 of you are all involved in the co-production Die neuen Todsünden, or The New Deadliest Sins, which had its premiere at the Badisches Staatstheater on the 3rd of October. We will talk more about that later, but first of all, I want to speak about your rather unique cooperation. Petra, you were the one who initiated this cooperation a couple of years ago. Could you please tell us why you wanted a German partner and how did you go about finding one?
Yes, I can. Yes, I was the artistic director of the Malmö City Theatre, and I think it could be almost 10 years ago that I first met Anna. I wanted to have artistic development in the company, and of course the German theatre is really I admire German theatres in Sweden a lot, and of course we have a lot of directors and playwrights that we follow and read, and pieces we look up to and stuff like that. So, but instead of the guys that were mainly famous in Sweden, I wanted a young, female, interesting, amazing director in theater. So actually, because I don't speak German, so it was really hard for me to read reviews and to look things up. And so I hired an assistant, a German girl that helped me look for interesting directors and interesting work in Germany. And she came up with the name Anna Bergmann. And actually I contacted Anna and you sent some tapes of performances. We had a dialogue also with your agent and just decided to do a production in Malmö. And you came to Malmö with the team and we did the Jelinek play. What happened with Nora after she left her husband. It was a great success. And the interesting, I think, is it's not, of course, the artistic work is really, really important. And I always want to be the best theater ever, of course. But what was interesting was also the company's different way of work. I mean, we have lunch, for example, which the team from Berlin was like, why? And also the level of technicians. I mean, we have few technicians in Sweden generally, and more technicians. We have other different kinds of culture in how we do the productions, the whole meeting system, everything. So that was really interesting. Also that we had we have previews in the opening week and invite some audience. We also had a discussion about that, and Anna was like, no, I do think that's good. So we learned actually a lot, of course, from Anna and also the team. So that was the beginning of something great.
Anna, what did you think when Petra approached you, and what was your experience of Sweden up to that point in time?
Actually, I was very happy that she called me. I was like longing to go to Sweden for many years. As I am a big fan of Ingmar Bergman and I've seen all the movies, I was like, what, Mama? There he was working as well. And I was really happy. So for me, it was, yes, it was a great experience meeting Petra, meeting the ensemble in Malmö. The first time when I went to Malmö, they had like this ensemble picnic. So everybody came together and they took a bus and went through the landscape and had like lunch together and sightseeing. And we went to a castle, I guess. I don't remember the name. And I was meeting all the actors and the whole theater. Almost everybody was there, from mask department to the technicians. And for me, it was really cool to meet already everybody. And yes, so I had a very good feeling about the whole idea of working there, even if I'm not at all able to speak Swedish or to understand it. At that time, it was completely like, what? But it was, it was so, from the first moment on, I was quite sure that this is going to be a very good thing to do.
How many people did you bring to Malmö in your team?
Well, it was Florian Eddy who made the stage design for Nora. Then it was Claudia Gonzalez Espindola for the costumes. And of course, Heiko Schnope for the sound. And we had one guest actress from Germany, but she was supposed to live in Sweden as well, Brigitte C., and she was playing Nora. And yes, so that was basically the German team.
Okay, and this shows of play, the Elfriede Jelinek play, did you choose that, Petra, first, or did you choose it together, or how did you do it?
It was Anna's suggestion.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to have a German actor in the ensemble, because she was in the Nora part like a stranger coming out in the world. So it was a really good thing to do, actually. No, it was Anna's suggestion.
We were talking about like, is it good to have a piece from Germany or from Austria, or in basically original in German language written piece? And it was also good that it never has been staged before in Sweden. So this was also an important thing about it. And I've never done Jelinek before. And now in Vienna, it's the second time that I do a piece by Jelinek. It's always very challenging. And it was one of her earliest pieces. She wrote this in 1978, I guess, or 73, Petra. I'm not sure anymore.
Mm.
But it's from the 70s. So it's quite old. But it's great fun to work on this piece. And Brigitte, she was not talking Swedish at all, only a little bit. So she was learning and exercising Swedish while we were rehearsing, a little bit like Frida now is learning German while rehearsing in German language. So it's learning by doing.
Okay. Did we lose Anna? No?
No, I'm here.
Oh.
I have to apologize, but the point is, I'm having to do this. I have to do this chat on my mobile phone because my Diensthandy is not working in Vienna and the computer is out of order. So sometimes I get telephone calls and I need to switch it off. I'm sorry.
No problem. But were you talking and thinking a lot about feminism when you did choose this play, or was it just very natural choice?
You know, I'm a woman, and I think I don't think about feminism at all. I just do what I think is right, and basically, it's a feministic way of thinking because I came into this world and I made different experiences, and good and bad ones. And to collect all these things together, I think brings me in the situation to be a feminist woman, even if I don't want to be a fighting feminist or something. It's just the action, how I act and what I choose is it is work out of itself, so to say.
We are 4 women here discussing theater today, and this might be less common in Germany than it is in Sweden. In Sweden, we have been talking and working actively with gender equality in the theater area for at least 15 years. Anna, when you became artistic director at the Badisches Staatstheater, you started out in your work only choosing female directors, which was controversial. Was that your intention to be controversial?
Well, you know, I like to be controversial because I think that keeps people alive, and when they feel shocked and when they feel like, ugh, a little bit like in an uncomfort zone, then it's good because then they start to think. And when you do extreme choices, then something could happen. So the decision was 100% female directors in the first season. And this was a very good decision because something changed in German theater system. So much more women can now work on bigger stages in other German cities on the big stage in the theater, which was not very common. And for this, it was a very good choice. And yes, and I still think it's good to support female directors, to support female writers, to support women who want to become in a higher position in the theater, to be like artistic director or intendant or whatever. So this is still something we need to work on and we need to focus on, especially now that we have the corona situation and the women stay at home and take care for the children. So we have kind of backlash situation at the moment on the working market and in the families.
Were you influenced from your work in Sweden when you took this decision, or was it your?
Yes, absolutely. For me, since I was working for almost 10 years now in Sweden, or when we started working was in 2012 or 13 or something, I experienced that this is a very, a long way to go for us in Germany to achieve this kind of equality in payment, to achieve this kind of equality in working together. It's also a completely different way of communication, all these kinds of meeting and having a big conversations about all the things going on in the theater. This is something I also took over to Karlsruhe and try to improve. And yes, the fact that there are more female directors as well in the theater, especially at Petra's house, was something I found really inspiring. Now there's a kind of backlash in Malmö City Theatre, so not so many women anymore directing there. So Petra Brylander was getting the woman, and now Kitte Wagner is more interested in men coming from old white men coming from Germany to Malmö.
Yeah, Petra and Anna, this first cooperation was in Malmö 2013. How many productions have you cooperated on so far?
We did first Nora, then we did A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare, and then we had Petra von Kant, and that was when I left to Uppsala, so it was my repertoire, so I couldn't see, I couldn't follow the process, but of course I saw the performance. And then when I came to Uppsala, I opened my first season with Anna's Carmen, that Frida was doing the Carmen part amazingly well. And I was really proud of this production because I had a dream of doing opera combined with the theater and actors and singers. And I asked Anna if she would like to do that. So that was a really great success actually for this company. And that's because of Anna and Frida. They were great.
But it is always Anna who has come to Sweden. You haven't been working in Germany or directing in Germany, Petra?
No. I'm an actor, so I'm not a director. But this actually, since Anna came to Karlsruhe, we have talked about doing stuff. So this is the second production we do together. So we have the Broken Circle at first, and now the Seven Sins, as we call it in Sweden, but that's not the name of it. Nya dödssynderna. So that's a lot actually, and it's really, really amazing to come and do this collaboration with German and Swedish. But now the team, for example, Lana has been in Sweden a lot. So
yes,
now we don't have this.
Yeah,
it's completely natural and amazing.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the current performance, Die neuen Todsünden, or the new Deadliest Sins. When did you first start planning it?
Actually, we started, almost 2 years ago when we were like thinking about what could be the opening of or what could be an important part of the second season. So this was my second season in Karlsruhe as artistic director. And in the first year, I said, I want to have female directors. In the second year, I said, well, I would like to support female writers from all over the world and all over Europe. And one thought I always had was that it is so important to put people together now in this strange time, and even before Corona. For me, it was always something to have different languages on stage, to see different ways of writing languages on stage, and also to put new handwritings on the stage and to support, of course, female writers. And then I was looking for an idea together with Anna Haas, the dramaturg, to say, what could be something, what could be this project? And we were like talking a lot about religion and what puts all things together. And of course, religion is one thing everybody has an opinion about, everybody has feelings for, and so it is also emotional, so that emotion gives a kind of power as well. And then I was like, no, but we can't do something like Catholic thing or very precise in this religion. And then we found, I'm sorry, it's already somebody calling. Maybe I have to text that he should stop calling me. And yes, so for me, it was like, we have to find something else. And then about research, we came up with this new 7 Sins by Mahatma Gandhi. And it's also something which is not so historical because it was written in the 1920s. So, and it is about the new deadly sins. And there are still in the world, and even more sins are in the world. And so we said, well, this could basically something to be sent to the female writers, and every writer could choose one of these sins to make a play of. And then it was clear we have to find these female writers. And so I was like also calling different people, reading different texts from different writers. So it was a very long process to find all these women as well.
Yeah, and the play is actually 7 episodes, one for each.
Yes.
Deadly sin. And the Deadliest Sins, I want to read them because they're so good. Politics without principle, wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humanity, worship without sacrifice. And each female playwright has written a play for each one sin. And there's even this Swedish, very well-known cartoonist, Liv Strömquist. Did you suggest that, Petra, or did you know her before, Anna?
I suggested Liv, yes.
Yeah, and she has written about wealth, how to heal the extreme wealthy, or what's called, yeah. And they are 7 female playwrights. Are they all from Europe, or one is from? They are all working in Europe.
No, Marina Davidova, for instance, I mean, she lives in Moscow. Mm. So, and she also worked for Salzburger Festspiele, but she also lives in most of the time, she lives in Moscow. And Sivan Benishai, she wrote about religion. She is from Israel, but she used to work quite a long time in Germany as well. And the others are all from Europe. We have the Angeliki Dalasi from Greece. We had Elise Schmidt from Luxembourg, because Luxembourg was another co-production theater, Théâtre International. Then we have Mariam Sareh. She was born in Iran. Actually, she was born in this Evin prison because her mother was a prisoner in this revolutionary time. So there's also a movie existing about this situation of her family. And then she came to Germany, but she has this very strong background. And I'm sorry, we have yes, Liv Ström is, of course, the Swedish one. And then we have another woman from Luxembourg, but she basically comes from Romania. That's, can you help me, Petra? Frida?
Yeah, I'm Googling it.
What's the name? I'm sorry. Now it's knocking on the door. I'm sorry. I have to tell. I'm sorry.
Why will we
yes.
stop talking with
I'm sorry.
Frida then?
Yes, Frida, you have to say all the names, please.
Yeah. It's Marina
Marina Davidova from Russia. We have
Mayram Sivan, Elise, Larissa.
Elise Schmidt. She's the other one from Luxembourg.
Angelique und Larissa und Lieb.
Yes, and Larissa Faber. Yes, also. Yeah.
Frida, you came to Karlsruhe this spring for the rehearsals of the Neuen Todsünden, but it isn't the first time you worked with Anna as a director. How many plays have you worked together on?
Actually, the three last productions, or my three productions that are still running is cooperations with, somehow cooperations with Petra and Anna.
Yes.
So it's Carmen, Broken Circle, and Todsünden.
Yeah, and you have worked in Karlsruhe once before?
Yes. Last year doing the Broken Circle. That was a cooperation with Uppsala and Karlsruhe also.
And as I understand it, you don't actually speak German, or at least you didn't when you arrived to Karlsruhe.
No, I still can honestly say that I don't speak German. But yeah, it's fascinating. I think I have a strong trust in people when people trust in me. I believe them more when they say, you can do this. And I think this is insane. But when Anna says, this will be fine, then I say, okay, then it'll be fine. And there is something about not only, when speaking German or any other language that isn't really your mother tongue, as an actor, you go into a more intuitive mode and start working on physical impulse and being more attentive to the sound of your co-players, not exactly the words, but more the whole physicality and intention. And this, of course, this interests me a lot and enables a very emotional play, which I like from opera, which is my background.
Is there a difference between singing in a different language and speaking and acting in a different language?
I would say so, yes. A lot in singing, especially when singing opera. Everything is decided before in the score. The words, not just the words, but the length of the words, on what tone you'll be singing it, the pauses in between, and so weiter. So do you have, when doing theater, you're much more free, obviously, to choose your own interpretation of something. And that is, of course, very interesting for me to do an interpretation of a text that I don't fully grammatically understand, so to speak. I imagine, I try to comfort myself when I'm here working, that this must be somehow interesting to watch someone doing this. I mean, I hope everyone understands the words I'm saying, but there must also be some kind of question all the time about something that is a bit off or not really accurate, or where is she from, or what's the accent, or what does she mean? Did she mean to have emphasis on that word, and And somehow I think this might be a positive thing for an audience that isn't too anal about stuff, but or more intrigued about what's between the words.
Yeah. As a translator, I'm really interested in this because it's so hard to learn a second language perfectly.
Yeah.
As an adult, you can't do it, and to perform it in a different language must be so hard. Anna, did you direct the whole ensemble in English, or were there other actors who also didn't speak German?
You mean for the Deadliest Sins production?
Yeah.
I directed basically everything in German.
Okay.
And because Frida, of course, sometimes we talk into English when we have like precise issues between each other, but basically to to work was the working language was German.
Okay.
And of course we have like another woman from America, Lucia Lucas. She was also in 2 of the pieces, and also she's an opera singer. Actually, she's one of the best female baritone singers in the world, and she was going to have her debut at the New York Metropolitan Opera, which was unfortunately cancelled because of Corona. But she is also in the ensemble, and I used to work with her in La Bohème years ago, and there she was Marcello. And now she was really, when I asked her, could you do this production and towards then, she was like, yes, I love to work with you, we do this. And she's doing a lot of crazy shit on stage as well. And she's also not a typical opera singer, even if she's not so much into acting and theater like Frida, but she's also very open and not only hanging on the scores. And this is something I really appreciate, to have this kind of people you work together and you get the best of everything, the best singing and acting and putting all these things together. And of course, sometimes we were also talking in English, but then we talked in German. And I also have one singer, one bass from Armenia, and he's also talking German. And the choreographer, he's from Belgium, so Emil van der Berge, so we talked in English, but basically we try to talk a lot in German.
Frida, has your German language developed during this process?
Yes.
Somehow you must have understood what Anna had said.
I mean, I think my understanding of the German language, I understand basically, I would say 2/3 of the discussions, but of course it is a completely different thing to I read French in school, so I didn't have any German grammar when I came here, so to just to understand the language just from living with it and not reading it, so to speak, is a different experience, or a completely new experience for me, and it makes me very shy when I should talk myself, but I do understand by now a lot.
Anna, in this performance, you work with various genres. It's acting, traditional acting, it's puppetry, it's film, it's dancing, and it's opera. You even asked the composer to compose a new opera for this play. Why did you want to do that?
Because it's fun. Basically, it's fun, and I always like experiments.
Yeah.
And as I was not sure of the quality of the text, I was thinking, okay, I have to choose a different quality and a different way of staging for every text. So that it was clear from the very beginning that I have to see which way of staging is the best for the text. So cast-wise and staging-wise, music-wise. And I had very early the feeling that this fish text has to be an opera. Okay. For me, it was, I couldn't imagine myself putting this seriously, talking-wise on stage. So then I said, well, no, they have to sing it. And then I asked Clemens, I said, Clemens, I used to work with him a lot, Clemens Jankowski, great musician. Could you please make an opera out of it? He said, well, it's too long for a whole opera. And I said, please do 15 minutes. Okay. And so then I put this all together. And then there was this comic by Liv Sjöström. And I was like, okay, this has to be like comic style. That you can't put this in a psychological way of playing on stage. Impossible. It has to be black, white, special aesthetic and special costumes. And then you have this Marina Davidova trance, a very, very, very long, very long text with a lot of words and a lot of pictures in the words. It's kind of Dostoevsky and it's not very theatrical. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do with this? I said, okay, I have to take a very, very, very good actress who could sing and act and put this together. So it's Frida in this. And I think I was thinking, of course, it's very challenging. Of course, I could have given her another part as well, but I was thinking, no, it's a good challenge for her if she has this long text and long psychological part in a way which is very creepy and unclear in a way, but I think it was a good challenge, even if this whole piece is very strange and not everybody's really understanding what it is all about. But I think it's good that we did it that way, also with the mixture of body work and having a dancer in this piece as well, and having a duet, because I think this way of having a very intellectual text and a lot of text combined with this kind of very pure body movement things, cyborg thing. This was something I was interested in when I was thinking about staging this. And then, of course, the beginning, it's more like a crime story and very psychological play. And the end, the last piece was the puppet. Of course, there's always a decision when you have to have a child on stage. What could you do about it? Whether you take a real child, and you have to see, does it work or does it not work? When I did Nora, Hedra and her sisters, it was my first big production in Karlsruhe. I had a child for Nora and a child for Elida in Woman from the Sea. And it was always hard to work with a real child. And then in the next production, Broken Circle, we have this child dying from cancer, and there I decided, no, it has to be a puppet and a puppet player playing the child. This gives you more artistic freedom, and there are very special other interactions possible to do with the child. And in this last piece, when it comes to sexual abuse, abusing a child, then it's impossible to do this with a real child. So it was very clear that we would have a puppet for this production.
But the theatre house in Karlsruhe, you also have all the different genres. Not every theatre has opera singers, but you have musicians and opera singers and actors in Karlsruhe always, don't you?
It's like this, and we have like the opera house, we have the ballet, we have concert and Junges Staatstheater, children's theater, youth theater, and a Bürgerbühne, which means where like people from the street could play theater and perform. So it's a very, very huge apparatus with a lot of people, but usually they never work together, or not that much, because they have like different issues going on, different interests and what they want to stage, and they have like a planning years ago in the opera house. And usually opera singers don't play or don't sing in the theater, and the ballet dancer never used to be in the acting section. So that was the first time I wanted to try out to put this together. Yeah, and this was only one dancer, one girl performing from the ballet, and only one singer really from the opera house ensemble. So everybody else was just guests, because it's so hard to put this in the schedule and to make it happen. It was very hard work, and yes, maybe now when we change everything and the whole structure will be changed in the theater, maybe things like this will be easier. But now in Corona times, it's even not allowed to mix all these people anymore. You need to have Corona testing, or it is not possible anymore. Yeah,
let's talk a bit about the current pandemic situation. It has affected all of us. How did you have to adapt the rehearsals due to the Corona restrictions? Singing is considered very dangerous.
Yes, it's the most dangerous thing in life. Sex and singing, both with S. Everything what means fun is not allowed anymore. I mean, with people you don't know or don't have a Corona test or something. Now here in Vienna we have free testing, so everybody can go to the test. And I have like 2 people I date. I'd like to date, and they're all texting me, now I got to Corona test. So this has completely changed my private life, and I hate it. So first. Second, artistically, it's also changing my life, because everything I like to see in theater and I like to stage on theater has to do with completely freedom. Yeah. People who could act freely from the bottom of their hearts and don't need to think about anything, if this right or wrong, or is it possible or impossible. Just do what you feel and what is your intuition in this moment. And all this energy was cut up in the moment when you have Corona next to you on stage. And all the time I started rehearsing this production, I had Corona on stage in the room between the people, which made it for me nearly impossible to have like the feeling of, no, we're having fun creating. It was always something. This is always something holding you back. And these pieces were not written for Corona times. These pieces were I choose and try to put on stage before Corona. Not at all any of these pieces had to do with Corona, whether in the text nor in the situations. So I was forced to put on something on stage which was not meant to be shown in Corona times. And so this is not good.
No, did you have to postpone the premiere? Was it planned earlier?
Yes, it should have. It should have. We started rehearsing actually on the 12th of March, and 2 days later there was the lockdown.
Yeah, and then you postponed it to the autumn.
Yes.
And now you have had to cancel performances due to this second lockdown in Germany.
Yes.
Will you play it again after the lockdown? Are you planning for that?
So at the moment we are planning to put all these things we are now rehearsing and producing in a little box, wait for the next informations we got, and then shake it and put it on stage again, with or without Corona, we will see.
Okay. How many performances took place before the lockdown?
From Totzen, I think 2.
2, yeah.
Only 2?
And from Carmen, only the opening night, also 2.
No, only the opening night, you're right, yeah.
Okay.
And that's so strange.
That's so sad. I'm so happy I could attend the premiere. But have you made any attempts to perform it, to stream it?
You know, we don't have the technique to do this in a proper good way, like to have 6 or 7 cameras moving around, having all these like things. It's something only the very rich theater, and even they only do it once, could afford, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I'm also not, I have to be honest, I'm not a fan of this. I never used to watch theater like this. And I also think we lose something. We lose, that was theater is made for, meeting people, being in the moment, being close to each other, being in this room, meeting people together. We need to, protect this and say, no, it's not just putting it on stream. It's not just putting it on a television. We need to go out and meet people and talk about people, with people, what we have seen. And that's something I think it's important. But
are you rehearsing right now? Or
yes.
You can do that, yeah.
Yes, because in Vienna they have the money and the opportunity that we are going to be tested every Monday and every Thursday. So everybody, every technician, every assistant, every actor, everybody from the team is tested. Otherwise, they are not allowed to go to the theater. And of course, it's a kind of lockdown here in Vienna as well. But we could work much more in freedom. Like, we don't need to take care so much about this don't touch each other thing, and not having the distance all the time. And this is much more relaxed to work. It's not Corona all the time in the room. We could much more focus on artistically ideas and about the things going on stage between the people. And that's much more fun at the moment to work. It's good.
But are you rehearsing in Karlsruhe right now?
They started a new production. They started a production which is called Gott by Ferdinand von Schirach. It's about an old woman who wants to decide that she wants to commit suicide, and she wants to have help, a special medicine, and it's like a discussion about this idea of free choice of when I want to die, and there is a priest, an ethic community, and they were discussing this issue. Yeah. So they just started rehearsing today, and of course this is possible to put this in a distant way. So this is of course a play we choose because it's Corona and people think about could I still live in this world, and this is something you can quite easily stage with distances. So it's a special play for Corona situations, and yeah.
Are you rehearsing in Uppsala, Petra, right now?
Yes, actually we are rehearsing, but we don't open because we're not allowed to have any audience. But today we had a sort of a small opening of Mikael Kohlhaas, the German novel, and it was amazing. But we will put it in a box, and actually it will open in a year, I think.
Oh,
because the problem with the planning is that you can't just put things. Vad säger man? Skjuta framför sig.
Push it forward to the future.
Yeah, push it forward, because then everything is piles up. So we have to do some smart strategy so we can keep the good performances, and some you will lose, of course. And we're actually planning for take the Seven Sins to Sweden, of course, and Anna will do a Swedish version, because in the Broken Circle we have the same team, the same musicians. Frida and Janek is the actors, and then we have the puppet player Julia and 4 musicians, so they can travel back and forth. But with this big production, it's hard. So we will have Frida and then Swedish actors, and maybe some German actor. We don't know.
Yeah, we will see.
Yeah, but we really look forward to have it in Uppsala. So I just ordered the translation to Swedish. So I'm really excited to read that, because this is the first play we've done together that I haven't read before.
No.
So
but there you can see how much we trust each other.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. I mean, I saw the opening, and though I don't understand German, I think it was a great.
Who is going to translate it, Petra?
It's Sofia Stenström.
From German then, yeah.
From German to Swedish,
yeah.
Yes.
And when are you taking this performance to Sweden? It's 2022, isn't it?
Yes, in the autumn, I hope. We have to combine the schedules for Frida and Anna, of course, because now Frida is in Karlsruhe for 1 year, actually. So she's not in Uppsala right now.
But we try November 21.
We tried, yeah, but it's hard.
Yeah. But are you going to work with all the different genres this time as well? Do you have all the opera singers and dancers and everything in Uppsala?
But Petra always makes everything possible.
Okay.
Yeah. No, actually, we work a lot, of course, with actors and dancers and singers from Stockholm, yes, because it's so close. And I think we will do a really great casting, but it's a lot of actors in the play, and we have them in the ensemble, I hope.
Yes.
Some of them. But maybe this great female baritone could come. Yes.
Yes. I think she will make it. I asked her already if she had time and interest, and she's so cool, really. Yeah.
But Petra, could you describe? You will, of course, recreate the costumes because it's no new actors, but you will also recreate the scenography.
Yeah, the same design, but we have our own set and own costumes. So we have like a copy of the performance, but in Sweden. Okay. In Swedish. That's because it's so difficult to combine our repertoire systems. Mm-hmm. And it's really expensive to drive back and forth with just a wall. I mean, it's no point. So we can have we have our own the Broken Circle set, because hopefully it will come to back to Sweden now in February. Yeah. So we have everything.
But you think we could do in February Broken Circle?
I hope we have to.
Yes, it would be so much fun because in Karlsruhe we were not allowed to show it.
Actually, in Sweden we have. I saw yesterday the numbers are going down, at least in Uppsala, and now it's decisions about number of audiences is to the regions to decide about. So it's a regional decision now.
Because you have also been forced to have social distancing to the audience. I was at the premiere in Karlsruhe and it wasn't half full, the theater. I don't know how many people were we? 50 or something in the audience.
It's usually we have 380 people.
Yeah.
And only allowed now were 80.
Okay. And it is about the same in Uppsala, isn't it?
50 we had before we closed, but now we have 8 people. So now it's totally, but 50 we had. So 50 on the big stage with 450 seats. It's really cold and empty. But hopefully the vaccine will come. And
but this is also a cooperation with the National Theatre in Luxembourg. Will it take it there also?
Yes, but we have planned to show there 6 or 8 shows, but with all the people from Karlsruhe.
Yeah.
But we don't know now if this gonna happen.
Okay.
It was planned to be in February.
Yeah, that's of course hard. Do you have any further plans of cooperation after the 7 Sins?
Yes, but we haven't really decided what, but we will do. Always work together.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the best thing. Community.
Maybe we do something really small this time. Small. No.
Broken Circle was so small. It was one of the smallest productions I've ever done in my life.
No, it was a joke. It has to be
2 actors and a puppet. No.
Just puppets traveling back and forth. A small team of puppets. No, it would be really great to have a big production, and it's also the co-productions. It's amazing to come to Karlsruhe to meet a theater from the inside, and on the opening we were the technical director, the costume department, head of the costume department, the producer, and I that we came and meet all the people in the theater.
Yeah.
And talk and inspire each other. Actually, for us, it's really inspiring.
Yeah. What have you learned from each other? Working this 7-8 years together.
For me, it was important that it's always good to be a little bit nicer.
Okay.
During the rehearsal process, and also to invite the people more to take part in the process, which is something I really liked in Malmö, that there was like every week there was a meeting with every department and talking about everything. So this is something I do now a lot, like talking to the prop department, talking to all the other departments. This is something I do much more at the moment, or in the last years. And yes, and also it's a little bit more, how to say, it's not so much stress in the system, I guess, in Sweden compared to Germany, which I also like.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, and also the idea of having the audience quite early in the rehearsing process is also something I really like. And it's not very common in Germany, but this is something we do now a lot in Karlsruhe, to have open rehearsals and invite people quite early to see what we're doing and having open run-throughs. This is something I think it's really good. And we also took this kind of behavior, how to say, I missed the word. We have like this paper where it's written down that we have a non-screen policy, how to treat each other, and all these things. This is something that also came up in Sweden, and we take it now into the German theater system. We have this in Karlsruhe, and I also encourage other theater people to do this also in their theaters, to have this.
What have you learned, Petra? What do you think?
A lot. I think for us it's the level of the artistic outcome from Anna and her team is really high. It's really challenging. We see something that we don't see in Sweden. So that has been really like an education, I think. We have learned a lot, and to see things develop in a way that it's hard to describe in English, but I think the level of work, and I also think Anna is really a great director for the actors, because you challenge them, you have really high demands, you expect a lot, and then you get a lot, instead of coming and say, oh, this is a rather tired group with tired, like it could be. Like I can't expect so much from them. You don't know them, you have never seen them before when you come off.
Mm-hmm.
At least a few of them are totally new, and you just...
No, in Carmen, I haven't met anybody before, except Andreas.
Except Andreas, yes. And you really push them, but you also care for them in a really, really good way, because in Sweden it's otherwise. Otherwise, you're a pushy director, or you're like the hugging director, but you are both. So yeah, but you expect a lot, and then you get a lot. And I think Frida has to talk more about this, but of course it's challenging to be on a stage, and it has to cost something. It's not just a walk in the park. And another thing is that Anna's performances are never boring, never ever, because you get a lot bored yourself, like this is boring. So I really expect that, but in Sweden it could be such a high level of this is fine culture, and now it's a long boring pause that we should think is interesting, but it's not. So I think Anna is really inspiring for Swedish directors to come and see, and also I have actually gathered a lot of people around your work, like come and see, invited people to meet you and to see the performances. Because it's something different than, it's unique, and it's really great, and the team is great and really inspiring to work with, and the level of work is amazing. I mean, Sebastian's work with video, we don't have that in Sweden, I think. Mm-hmm. So and also we have fun, we laugh a lot, so that's also important to me. Yes, that we connect, and we have also a conversation going on about what is art, what's theater, what we have to develop, what's interesting, what's not interesting. So it's really inspiring for me to meet Anna, and to just lift up and see something else above the surface of our daily business work, because I'm the CEO also. So I have the whole company. So sometimes it's just a lot of business in the office. Mm-hmm. So I think it's interesting, but it's interesting to see what Frida has experienced you met the both worlds, I think, more than I have done.
Yes, and as an actor, I sometimes feel it's our job, or at least we think it's within our identity to complain wherever we go. Or be critical about everything that we're experiencing. We only have that to protect ourselves. We have to criticize and question, and otherwise we're just dummies moved on stage. My feeling when working in I am actually from Finland, so for me it's being abroad, both in Sweden and Germany. And in Sweden, I always had the feeling that it's a bit, too anxious in the way we address each other. There could be a lot more honest emotion and affection when talking in a professional environment. not to be so afraid of hurting each other, but trusting that the other person can stand my anger or my love or my joy or whatever. And then coming to Germany and feeling this very strongly, that people are really brutal in their way of expressing themselves when working on stage, and being then shocked by it, and really had to, the first 2 weeks when working in Broken Circle, I really had to mentally really prepare myself in the morning to go in with this almost Kampf strength. I had to really somehow put on a certain kind of pride, that I have, this is my body, this is my voice, and if you cross a line with me, then I will have to let you know as well. This is, of course, it's challenging, but it's also, after a while, making you feel incredibly strong. And then when you walk out on stage, you all of a sudden are a very powerful person that you're not in private. And this I obviously like very much. And yeah, as you said, Petra, with Anna as well, it's both the challenging and the caring. And for me, I completely enjoy doing something that I've never done before. And someone else, like, it's very rare to find directors that make you discover things about yourself that you didn't know about yourself. And that is, of course, why I want to work as an actor. I'm just so interested in myself.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. We are running out of time. It has been so interesting to talk to you and hear about your experiences. And it's really interesting to hear about the special cooperation between the two theaters and between the two of you. And I really think you make a difference. You're developing the Swedish and German theater. And I'm so looking forward to see the performance in Uppsala. So thank you, Petra Brylander. Thank you, Frida Österberg. And thank you, Anna Bergmann. For those of you listening to this in Sweden and Germany, thank you too for joining us. I hope you will see the performance in Sweden. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.